One thing I like to talk about before I get into this review, that 15-second skit with the VOD villains where they were talking about becoming the NXT Tag Team Champions, and the way they were talking back and forth and the laughing at the end. Ha 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 ha. It was so funny, it was so different, it was so cool, it was so 1920s Charlie Chaplin, and I like how their lips and the sound of their lips were even off sync. It just felt good and refreshing and different. On with the show! One thing that I really applaud for NXT for doing for the past couple of weeks is that they're starting to mix it up, even if it's just for a little bit, and they're starting to do different things with their talent. That is what NXT has been doing, and I like what they're doing so far. Because over the course for the past few weeks, to me it just feels like NXT has been match, and no substance of any microphone time or story development or character development. It's just been match after match after match. But ever since even last week, they finally said, all right, let's just mix it up. Let's just do this and this, and then we'll come in with this. And I like it. I like that they give their talent mic time to develop their own characters, because how else are they going to prove themselves when they do go up to Monday Night Raw, to have them ready on the flagship show? That's just my opinion. So at least they're doing a good job of it, but it's slow. It's bit by bit. It's a slow step process when it comes to their overall presentation of their show. So with all that being said, let's get right down to what happened on this episode of NXT. And the first match on the card was Bayley versus Summer Rae in a number one contenders match for the NXT Women's Championship. Now, to me, there are three types of matches. There's there's your basic NXT Women's match. You have a number one contenders match, and you have a title match. And those three matches should have a different feel to them. To me, this just felt like a NXT Women's match. It was very solid, okay match, 7 minutes long. It just felt very basic. But to me, this should have felt more of a number one contenders match, like it should have been. This probably could on a little bit longer, and to do more things in the ring, have a little more of a psychological aspect with Summer Rae, work her and come across more as a heel. And it's interesting because now she's being portrayed as a babyface on Raw, so it's really awkward to see her come down on NXT only to re-establish herself as a heel. I don't know, maybe the best way to portray Summer Rae on Raw is to have her as a heel, because on NXT she has been a heel pretty much her entire way. So it's funny that the WWE has the logic, okay, we developed you as a heel on NXT, but now we're going to turn you babyface on Raw. Does that make any sense at all? I'm just wondering. But going back to this match, to me, this just felt like a women's wrestling match and not a number one contenders match. It should have a bigger feel to it. It should be a little bit longer than it should have been. But still, it was a good solid match, I thought, in my opinion. But nothing really special really happened. And the one thing that I was actually surprised with is that Summer Rae got the win here. And the reason why I think that is because for the past couple of weeks on NXT, they've been grooming Bayley as the number one contender, having her go over the champion in the tag team match a couple of weeks ago, and have her get the last word last week on NXT. So I thought it was really surprising that they didn't go with Bayley being the number one contender here. Instead, they went with Summer Rae. To me, when I think back and look at it, it's more of a smart move to have her win, because if Bayley would have won that, to me, this wouldn't work on the storyline development into breaking up the BFFs. So I think Summer Rae being the #1 contender is a good thing, because this will help and advance the storyline between the split of the BFFs. You know it's just going to happen. It's just how it's going to happen remains to be seen just yet. I mean, you had the whole backstage segment with Summer Rae and Sasha Banks later on, just shortly after the match, and they're planting the seeds of the two of them breaking up in the same time. They've also planted seeds of Sasha Banks breaking up with Charlotte. Now, it seems more likely that Sasha will keep Charlotte in her corner after this ordeal with Summer Rae and Charlotte, but you never know what's going to happen, and they could even go the route of Sasha Banks taking out both Summer and Charlotte and just have her walk off and splinter off as a solo diva instead of having her aligning herself with anyone else. So that'd be really interesting. I'd like to see what happens with this storyline and how it plays out. Moving on to a match between Sin Cara and Wesley Blake. Okay, even though I thought Sin Cara, aka Hunico, was really good in this match, it just felt like an easy win for him. I thought this was, I would have liked to see Wesley Blake get a few more licks in more than he did on this match. And this was really in a way to reestablish Sin Cara as that luchador high flyer. And like I said, this was a really good performance from Sin Cara here. He was doing a lot of some good aerial moves in this match. However, I feel like this match did not belong on NXT. This felt more like a Raw filler match than a NXT match, because in the end this never really accomplished anything at all besides Sin Cara reestablishing himself. This would have came across a lot better if this was Kalisto, because Sin Cara is already an established superstar and Kalisto is trying to work up the ranks. And like I said, this would have came across a lot better if it was Kalisto being booked in the match instead. That's just my opinion there. Moving on to the CJ Parker and Xavier Woods promo. What happened was that CJ Parker came out first. He calls out Xavier Woods because he wants to get something off his chest. He says that he's sorry and that he basically don't want things to go any further and out of control. And he brings up that Xavier Woods is going for a PhD in a doctor role. And I like when Xavier Woods come out. He was in a suit. It was funny because he came across as serious, and it was kind of hard to take him serious because the WWE has been so stereotypical of him doing the whole jucking and jiving gimmick, but it was just kind of weird to see him in a suit. It was really hard to take him seriously because of the way WWE has been booking Xavier Woods. But so it came across 50-50. It was alright. But at least they got the point across here. What happened was that Xavier Woods blew him off. First, CJ Parker extends his hand, holds the peace sign on his other hand, and Woods' reaction was he just kind of blows him off, and CJ Parker doesn't like it. Xavier Woods walks off, and then CJ Parker attacks him, kick to the head from behind. Yes, this was cliched and predictable, but it was also well done, and I like what I said earlier on this review, that NXT has been doing different things. I like that they're doing a promo segment on their show instead of a match. And I like that they're building up this storyline with CJ Parker and Xavier Woods. The only little nitpicky issue I have with CJ Parker is that, to me, his name alone does not scream hippie. He does have the new music that he has. He has the attire. He has the whole peace sign and the signs that he has that are economically friendly, but just the name alone doesn't really make me feel like that he's a hippie. Maybe he could do more hippie-ish things in his character. I don't know. I'm just gonna throw it out there. What do you think about it? That should CJ Parker change his name or keep it? Feel free to comment below and tell me what do you think about the name CJ Parker here. Moving on to Bull Dempsey versus Angelo Dawkins. And to me, this came across a lot better than Bull Dempsey's last match. I saw a little bit more character development from Bull Dempsey. Even though this was a very short jobber squasher match, he annihilated Angelo Dawkins. That's what I want to see from a big, huge guy. Even though he comes across as a little stale sometimes, he almost feels like a jobber. But I like what he was doing here, and I like how he executes his elbow drops. It's not like he's applying elbow drops on the opponent's chest or anything. He's applying his elbow drops on the opponent's jaw. To me, the little things matter, especially when it comes to the in-ring work and the matches. That to me really stood out, and he just flat out squashed him like a bully. I like that the commentators even brought that up, and they're building Bull Dempsey as a monster. Turn him heel, because to me the WWE lacks in monster heels right now, and this is the way to go with Bull Dempsey. And I also like that they gave him mic time, and he said that I'm not going to stop till I become NXT champion. And I like he set a realistic goal here, because why are you on NXT if you don't want to be the champion? That flat out makes no sense. So I like that Bull Dempsey set that realistic goal in wanting to become the NXT champion. That felt good. It felt refreshing. And what I like is that they actually gave him mic time as well, because we saw that promo work mic time on the segment that we saw before. So we're getting more of people talking on the show, which needs to happen on NXT, and I like that they're doing it here. The only nitpicky issue, maybe the best way to go with Bull Dempsey is to have him not speak at all and have a manager for him and just have him go out and just annihilate everyone. That's an idea I wouldn't mind throwing out there. I mean, who would be a good manager for him? Maybe Paul Heyman, but I would caution that, because look what happened to Curtis Axel. But that'd be great if Paul Heyman was Bull Dempsey's mouthpiece, and he would like introduce him like he would with Cesaro, even though he's not really helping him out. But maybe Paul Heyman could help Bull Dempsey out. Just throwing that idea out there. And moving on to the main event of the show, it was Adrian Neville and Sami Zayn versus Tyson Kidd and Justin Gabriel. And to me, this was a very good, well-paced match. This wasn't rushed at all. It was timed perfectly. It wasn't too long and it wasn't too short. It was the right length for a main event NXT match. And the fans went home happy here. Not with the winners, but how the match was progressed and how it was done so well. And I like how it got exciting in the last few minutes. Now, with that being said, with the whole Justin Gabriel now being established as a heel, I'm not so sure about it just yet. I'm not sold on Justin Gabriel as a heel. I'm not behind it just yet, because to me, when I look at Justin Gabriel, he's more of a showcasing high flyer than he is a talker. So to me, it's not the sinking into me yet that Justin Gabriel will be a good heel. But I like what they're doing with Tyson Kidd as a heel. Last week they gave him a really good interview he had with Renee Young last week, and now this week they put him in a really good, solid main event on the show, and they got the point across here. And I like how it ended as well. You had the whole Natalya factor here, and the fans were chanting for Natalya and not Tyson Kidd, and Tyson Kidd thought that the fans were cheering for him. I enjoyed it. So I like how they ended this match, because here you had Nettie on the apron. Tyson Kidd accidentally knocks her off, and you see Sami Zayn. He's looking out for Natty. He's about to go over, and so is Tyson Kidd, but then Tyson Kidd takes the easy way out, does the heel thing, and rolls up Sami Zayn for the 1-2-3, throws him off guard, and he was like, what just happened there? So I like the little things that matter when it comes to developing someone as a heel. To me, Tyson Kidd is pulling it off. Justin Gabriel, no, but Tyson Kidd, yes. It's weird how that works. So overall, this NXT episode has been improving. Not just this episode, but NXT overall. So if I were to give this show a rating, I would give this show maybe a 7 or a 7.5. And if you saw NXT tonight, what did you think about it? Comment below, let me know. While you're at it, you can hit that subscribe button down below this video. You can also follow MRB Wrestling on Twitter, and you can like us on Facebook at the Make Rock and Bolt Wrestling Review Show. And on a final note, to all you viewers watching, get plenty of rest, and always do your best.